20 years. So it's possible. Bấm khỏe, bỏ cái khỏe. Okay, thank you, Soju Sunim. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for coming. Okay, let's continue learning from Master Shenhua's Chan teachings.
Yung Gong的人时时刻刻不睡，都是参悟的快。
People who apply effort would apply effort all the time and would constantly investigate this huatou.
就是最短的一念间，也不会停止参悟念佛是随。
Even within the shortest moment of one thought, he would not stop investigating who is reciting the Buddha's name.
这叫绵绵密密。
This is called applying effort continuously and meticulously.
你这功夫用了上路了，你想不用的也不可能了。
Once you get the hang of how to apply effort, even if you don't want to apply effort, it is not possible.
一定要用。这是功夫有多少相应。
This is having some response to your kung fu. You must apply effort.
可是我们用功的人呢，要内生外王。
People who apply effort need to be a sage inside and a king outside.
什么叫内圣呢？就是内里。 有圣，圣这个圣，明是聪明，像圣人那么聪明，内圣。
What is be a sage inside? That is having brilliant understanding on the inside. It is as wise as sages. Be a sage inside.
又叫外王， 就有外王。什么叫外王呢？外王
Also, be a king outside. Also, be a king outside. What does that mean?
就是我这样用功，也能教化其他人，也用来用功。
Be a king outside means when I am applying effort here, I can also teach and transform others to apply effort as well, to apply effort.
你能使令其他人来用功来修行，来成佛，这
You can cause others to apply effort and cultivate to become a Buddha.
叫外王。王就是火王那个王。你是内圣外王。
That is, be a king outside. You are a sage inside and a king outside.
你又要立功，所谓立功、立德、立言。
You also need to do meritorious deeds. We need to do meritorious deeds, build virtues, and establish teachings.
修行不是这么简单，这么容易就修行成，是要立功。怎么立功呢？
Cultivation is not that simple or easy. To become a Buddha, we need to do meritorious deeds. How to do meritorious deeds?
就是造庙，你来帮着做工，这是立功。
For example, if we build a temple and you come to help with the work, that's do meritorious deeds.
就要立德，立德就是做德。你亲身来做功，就立功。
We also need to build virtues. Build virtues. That's to have virtuous actions. When you physically come over to work, that's doing meritorious deeds.
你再能用你很辛苦所得来的金钱，你能把它施舍出来，这叫立德。
If you could also donate your hard-earned money, that's building virtues.
立言，然后你功也有，德也有了，然后你可以教化众生，教化众生。
Establish teachings. After you have meritorious deeds and virtues, then you can teach and transform living beings. Teach and transform living beings.
这个众生看见你的面，听见你说话，就会发菩提心，成就上道。如果你自
When living beings see your appearance, hear you speak, they will bring forth the Bodhi mind and also achieve the unsurpassed way.
自己没有功德，你讲的很有道理，也没有人听。
If you yourself don't have blessings and virtues, even if your speech is very reasonable, nobody wants to listen.
你要有了功德了，甚至于你就骂人，人也都欢喜听。
But if you have blessings and virtues, even if you scold people, people still like to hear it.
咱们现在十方诸佛，菩萨，令我们成就一个道场。这个道场呢，去看了很多次。
Now, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions helped us with a way place. We went to see this way place many times.
看一次，晓得这个道场是不容易成就。有什么不容易呢？
Every time we see it, we always feel this way place is not easy to establish.
Okay.
Why? Is it not easy?
Sorry. Oh, it's not easy. Okay, fine. Let's look at these instructions on the Huato, reciting the Buddha's name. Okay, so he's reciting the Huato called who's reciting Buddha's name. Okay? And did we start with this or I think so, huh? Okay, so here's how he taught the Huato. He says, when you recite this Huato, and you will notice that the instructions don't necessarily are not that specific to this particular Huato at all. This particular Huato has certain characteristics that when you practice, you will see. But the technique applies to all the Huato. But this is the one that Master Xu Yun and a lot of recent patriarchs recommended. So he says, when you practice Huato, you investigate this Huato, who's reciting Buddha's name. And he says, keep on looking at it, looking at that topic. And he says, as long as you keep on investigating ceaselessly till there is nowhere to go, then there can be a new state. Okay? So that herein lies the technique of the Huato. You keep on looking at this phrase, who reciting Buddha's name, or it could be another Huato, it doesn't matter. So you look at this Huato, who's reciting Buddha's name, and you keep on looking at it day and night. So far, so good. Okay, that's what he meant by investigating ceaselessly. Okay, and you keep at it until there's nowhere to go. Meaning that that you keep on going after it. Don't think about why is it taking so long, when I'm going to get there, how do I know that I'm doing it right, and so forth. You keep on investigating this, okay? Just keep at this phrase, okay? Until there's nowhere to go, meaning that you lose track of your purpose. There's no more purpose for you, no more goal for you. You just simply even lose track of your goal. Goal become enlightened even. Forget it. Goal to get to 4th-stage arhat. Forget it. And goal to improve. Forget it. Just look at it and drop everything. That's very important. And you keep at it, then there's nowhere else to go, meaning you don't think of anything else. Okay? And then there can be a new state. And with that technique, then you will see how the Huatou technique, that Huatou cultivation will progress. So you can see a new state, you start again. You keep on going at it until there's nowhere else to go, then you have a new state, okay? And until you keep at it until there's nowhere else to go, there will be a new state, okay? That's the process. You don't have to think about it. That's how you know you'll be progressing. Otherwise, you be practicing Huatou, you have no clues whether you do it right or wrong. It doesn't matter at all. Okay. So far, so good. And here lies the danger of this. How do you know it's a new state or simply not your karmic obstructions? You don't. And that's why you're better off practicing with others. Because you practice Huatou with others, the others may be able to recognize your state. Okay? You practice by yourself, you have no idea. So far, so good. This is important. That's why in China, when they practice Huatou, they typically go to a Chan monastery and they practice Huatou. They're among a lot of people. And they get a lot of help. These Chan Chis, for example, are the places where there are plenty of Buddhists and Bodhisattvas who's around to help you. You practice on your own at home, in a mountain and so forth, not for sure. You get some help. But in the temples that organize Chan Chis, especially famous temples who have a history of doing that, you get help. So far, so good. Okay? Meaning those places have a track record. It's not necessarily big. In China, they happen to be big because the Chinese believe in Chan and they have a very healthy history, strong results in Chan Chis and so forth. So those temples that can, that can organize Chan Chi year after year after year after year, that's a track record, okay? And especially the places where they practice and they're very rigorous, like Go Forest, okay? And then year after year, so we have to wait for a while before they establish a track record. And then you know it's a place you want to go, okay? You don't just go to anywhere. It's very important. Okay, so in China, you go to these places, Gao Min Si. You go to those, that's the one that still sticks in my mind, because I don't like it anymore. Nowadays, it's, I haven't been there, but the people, one person who came back, I don't like it. I don't like the way he practices and the way he talks about it. He's wasting his time, he's wasting his life, using Gao Min to get some support. It's sad. Okay? You go to a place of cultivation, you're still seeking fame, you're seeking to utilize it. That means you're not getting anywhere. You just BS. Anyway, so you have nowhere to go. It's a state where you get a few times, you understand what it is. Okay. Yes, 7.
A Di Đà Phật, cái lời thầy giảng đó con đã có kinh nghiệm như vậy. Tức là trước khi con xuất gia đó, con thích đọc sách của Thiền Tông. Thì các tổ thường thường hỏi người ta chứ các pháp quy về một quy về đâu? Thì đương nhiên là con không hiểu rồi. Và con còn trách lại là mấy tổ này hỏi cái khó. Người ta hỏi Phật thì Phật giảng rõ ràng, còn người ta lại hỏi mấy ông giảng cái kiểu này là sao ai hiểu. Nhưng mà mình cứ thắc mắc nhưng mà nó không có đi, mình không có biết, nó cứ bám theo mình. Thì đến khi tu với thầy, ở bên cách đây khoảng 6-7 năm, ở bên Lư Sơn Tự đó, bữa thiền thất đang ngồi thì chờ cái tiếng gõ của thầy rất là lâu, mình nói cà đau. Chỉ mục đích chỉ ngồi chờ cái tiếng gõ của thầy để nó xả ra đi cho bớt đau thôi. Thì tình lình bữa sáng Chủ nhật đó có cái anh nào muốn chạy cái mô tô anh sửa, sao mà anh không có gắn cái muffler vô. Nó nổi như trời đánh luôn, sát bên cái hông chùa đó. Thì nó bực lên là nó trả lời cái câu con thắc mắc đó. Mình nói lâu lắm rồi mà không biết nó ở đâu mà mình cũng không có quăng đi được. Tình lình tiếng mô tô nổi lên thì nó rất là nhanh, cũng như là một cái điện giật vậy thôi. Tất cả pháp quy một quy tất cả, nó trả lời tức khắc cho mình vậy. Thì từ từ con coi những giáo lý khác, lần cái đó nó sáng ra, sắc tức thì không đó. Càng ngày nó càng sáng ra, càng ngày càng sáng ra. Cũng hiểu nhưng mà sau 1-2 năm đó mình hiểu khác. Con xin hết.
Master, from whatever you taught us, it reminds me that before I leave the home life, I used to read a lot of book about Chan, and then the patriarch usually say like all of the Dharma will become one, and then where one will go. And I read it, I didn't understand, and then not only I didn't understand, I even criticized the patriarch, like, how come you are so stingy? When the people didn't understand, they asked the Buddha explained to them. But you are a patriarch, but then the way you answer like that, it makes people more confused. So I keep wondering about that one. And then 6-7 years ago, during a Chanchi at Lu Mountain Temple, during the sit, it was so painful, and then I keep bearing the pain, and then waiting for the bell to ring, and keep waiting. It's dragging so long, and then suddenly there was a motorcycle drove by, and then the sound of the engine was so loud, and then suddenly it struck in my mind, and then it wake me up, and I suddenly understand that meaning, like, okay, one go to all and all will go to one. So it's similar to the principle of the mark is also is empty, and emptiness is mark. And I continue to practice, and then eventually I start to understand, and like my understand compared to 1-2 years ago is different. So the more I cultivate, the more I understand deeper level.
Translation is if the 10,000 dharmas return to one, what does one return to? That's the Huatou. Okay. Return is a key word. It's not go to. It's return. All right. So it's not quite right. Okay. your understanding is not, that particular practice is not the Huatou. So it has nothing to do with the Huatou. Huatou, you sit there, you keep on contemplating that thing all day and all night. Okay, so what you got there is really not a breakthrough at all, as far as Huatou is concerned. Okay. I don't recommend that people practice at Huatou because it can be confusing to people who are knowledgeable about Buddhism. All right. There'll be a new state, so you go there. Okay. And next, he says, if you do not cultivate, you cannot attain this new state. So obviously, it takes hard work for you to get to the new state. Not only must you cultivate, but you must cultivate vigorously. Is the tip I give you. 180. People who would apply efforts all the time and would constantly investigating is Huatou. Okay, and that's the nature of the Huatou. You cannot take a break. When you practice Huatou, you don't want to go down to lunch and socialize and smile and laugh and joke and try food, this food, try that food. That's absolutely anti-Huatou. Am I making myself clear? I hope you have. Those of you who've been coming the Way Mountain has not been practicing Huatou because we do it wrong. Okay? The Huatou requires total dedication. Even like during lunch, you don't smile, you don't laugh, you don't talk. Okay? You're still doing Huatou. Are you eating? Who's reciting Buddha's name? Okay? That's a requirement. You cannot afford to slack off. So far, so good. What we've been practicing here is not the environment we've been producing for you is not conducive to Huatou because I happen to think Huatou is too slow. Okay? And leads to a lot of disappointments. That's why the people who practice Huatou, in particular, you practice Huatou without any proper guidance, you go nowhere. That's the way it is. That's why I happen not to like it. Okay? I don't like it at all because it's misleading. If you don't do it properly, you go astray. And if you do it properly, you still need a lot of help. Okay? And it's too easy to go astray. And the worst part to me, is that too low of a level. As far as I'm concerned, Huatou is too low. Too slow, too low. Huatou, I would classify Huatou as medium certain teaching, not high-end certain teaching. Okay? Now, 181. So that's my excuse because I don't like Huatou. I saw a person practicing Huatou, a disciple, Master Shua, practicing Huatou successfully, and he gave up. And he progressed without Huatou. Had he continued Huatou, it was much harder for him to progress. And that's also a reason why, for a person like Master Hsu, who practiced Huatou for his entire life, he only got to 8th ground Bodhisattva. Oh, come on. You do better than that. All right. So that's the people who specialize in practicing Huatou. To me, I haven't seen anyone who's that good yet. Even in the shortest moment of thought, you would not stop investigating who is reciting Buddha's name. I rest my case again. Even in a lunch hall and you practice Huatou, don't smile, don't laugh, don't joke around. If I tell jokes, I say jokes, okay? Even like right now, you practice Huatou, I tell you a joke, don't laugh. I would not be offended. You got that? That's Huatou. Even you sit, you listen, you only listen half an ear, the other ear, you still listen to yourself reciting Huatou. Is that clear? It's so demanding, it's very demanding. You don't want to take a break at all time, at any time. Okay? Go to the restroom, still same thing. You're doing your duties, you're still practicing Huatou. Oh, reciting Buddha's name, who's brushing your teeth? Don't even think about who you're brushing your teeth. Okay? So it's very, very demanding. It requires total dedication. This is called applying efforts continuously and meticulously. Mao Mi. I'm not sure I understand the Chinese. Mao seems to has something to do with silk or fabric. Mi seems to be denseness. So I don't know. Okay. Chinese people, help me out, please. What does it mean? So to me, it's not simply continuously, meticulously. To me, Mao Mi tells me that Mao is dense. Mao is a silk. You know, Su is silk. What's Mao? Cotton? Fabric? Come on, Chinese people. You want me to explain Chinese to you? You have to explain what the Chinese characters mean. Okay? So Mao here, the cotton or whatever, okay? Some kind of fabric, some kind of thing that you use to make a fabric. And then Mi is dense. Okay? So what's Mao?
Number 1. Master, it's Mian Mi. So
Mian
has the meaning, it's like silk, and it can mean it's like silk that is continuous and non-stop. Mi is dense. It's very dense.
Okay, so the silk here refers to a fabric that's very fine, very refined, very fine, that pertains to your thoughts. The thought you produce in your mind is as fine, as refined as silk, as soft, as delicate as silk. That's the nature of the thoughts of your investigation. Who reciting Buddha's name? That thought there is as refined, as delicate as silk. So far, so good. Mi is dense, meaning that there's no space. Okay, no space in between. In the fabric, okay, no space, meaning your Huatou investigation is continuously, has no breaks. Don't look at me like that. I don't like Huatou, but I can explain it. You don't believe me, don't believe me. I don't care. Okay? It's pretty good instructions. But it's still very vague to you. Okay? Once you get the hang of how to apply efforts, even if you don't apply efforts, it's not possible. This is called a state. This is a state where your mind, when you got to this Mao Mi, Mian Mi, okay, Mian Mi, then you get to the point where your mind is constantly thinking about the Huatou, investigating Huatou, whether you're eating, whether you're walking, you're taking a break, whether you you are going to the bathroom, your mind still is investigating. This is what he's talking about. And if you don't want to apply effort, the expression, unfortunately, is not quite appropriate. That effortlessly, okay, the way he explains it in Chinese is could be misleading. It says basically when you get going, okay, your mind will be constantly investigating Huatou effortlessly. You don't even need to make an effort. It still goes. Who's reciting Buddha's name? Who's reciting Buddha's name? Because at first, you have to force it. You say, and pretty soon when you progress, your mind becomes so refined, so subtle, like silk, so dense. Okay? Then this happens. If you ever get enlightened doing Huatou, remember I taught you. Okay, 184. This is like having some response to your Kung Fu, that's correct. You must apply effort. Yeah, you have to work hard. It's very demanding. Very demanding, he says. Yeah, again, the Chinese, they have this way of saying, but for us, it doesn't mean much. I would say it's very demanding, folks. It requires total commitment. You cannot goof off. Can't laugh, can't joke. People who apply effort need to be a sage inside and a king outside. I don't understand this. What does it have to do with Huatou? What kind of nonsense is this? Huatou is Huatou. You don't need to be a king. You could be a beggar, you still do Huatou. You could be a low life, you could still do Huatou. You don't need to be a king. Inside you are a sage, outside. Maybe what he's referring to necessarily Huatou, but it's about, again, I'm not Chinese, so Chinese people, please help teach me, correct me if I'm wrong. He's maybe no longer referring to Huatou, but he's referring to applying efforts, to cultivation, okay? When you apply efforts, okay, this is not necessarily Huatou anymore, okay? Okay, so it's most likely is the case because the rest of it is not about Huatou anymore, okay? So anyway, that's so far, it's the instruction of Huatou. Any questions about that? Again, I don't feel it's really appropriate at our times because it's just too demanding. Because every time you practice Huatou, it requires total commitment. You cannot practice Huatou and go to work, okay, and expect big results. Okay, Huatou requires continuous, total commitment for it to happen. All right, so I don't feel really appropriate for our times anymore, especially you're a lay person. It's not really appropriate. You're a monk unless you're in isolation and you can apply efforts, meaning that you are at Chanqi something is worth trying Huatou. But even if you go to a Chanqi or a place where you practice Chan or Son or whatever, you need to have someone who understands Huatou, who can guide you, because it's very, very easy to go astray. And that's why I don't see many people doing Huatou, succeeding in Huatou anymore. Okay, I've been to many places. I don't see those people. Even though the Koreans, are enamored with the Huatou, none of them could do Huatou, could understand how to do Huatou. So that's why there's a problem. And this is not criticism. This is just a reminder of you. If people were able to do Huatou, they would have left instruction like Master Hsuan behind. Okay? And then with those instructions, their disciples are supposed to be able to get there. But I saw the Korean monks, I didn't see them alive. I understand they're enlightened, and I saw their disciples, if they practice Huatou, will get to the level of their disciples only. It's not good instructions. You have a responsibility. Once you do Huatou, you have to tell people how to do it. And you have to make sure they succeed. It's not just words. If they don't succeed, it's just like some instruction you pick up from a book. Okay? So I don't know about you, my standards are different from the Korean, from the Chinese. Okay? I do not like words. I need to see results. You don't have show me results, meaning that who's among your disciples have succeeded? Don't beat around the bush with me. Yes, 4.
If you'd be so kind, could you let me know if the translation for who's reciting the Buddha's name is the same as the Chinese? Is the translation correct?
Yes.
There's no increased understanding if you know the Chinese words?
Well, you can do Chinese. It's more punchy. But if you don't understand Chinese, you can still do it in English. You still can succeed as well. Yes, number 6.
Master, I have a question about applying effort. So I was reading some sports psychology, and this guy was the trainer for like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and other top basketball players. And he said that the guys who who really worked the hardest, they had different motivations, and he said they knew how to push their buttons, and a lot of times their buttons weren't like very positive things. So I try to find my buttons, and I realize that I get pushed harder when I have some more selfish, greedy motivations that are, kind of dark. So when I was sitting, and I've been sitting longer and cultivating harder because I've been pushing these buttons. Because when I want to unbuckle, I go back to the button that's dark, and I say, don't unbuckle because of that, and it keeps me going. Is that okay? Because it's helped me work harder.
Like which dark button? Can we know? Like, don't stop because you are so close to figuring how to kill someone.
No, not that dark. Something like I need to be.
If you keep it up, you can reward yourself with.
No, I feel like kind of the need to prove myself to be better than everybody else. So I push that button if I want to unbuckle, and so it's been keeping me buckled and working harder.
Oh, I mean, you want to be better than someone else, everyone else.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not negative.
But it's a lot of it's not in line with the principles of Buddhism.
It doesn't matter. Whatever you need to do to motivate yourself to keep going, even for the sake of vanity, it's still okay temporarily. Okay? And particularly, it depends who you are. For you, it's okay. For some people, it's not. For some people, it's not advisable to dwell on those thoughts. But for you, so it's perfectly okay. All right? So it varies from individual to individuals. Okay. Anyone else? Anything else? Okay, so the people who apply efforts need to be a sage inside and a king outside. Okay, I was listening to this half an year. Like, what do you have to do with Huatou? So that's why I couldn't stop it, because I had to listen to the whole thing to decide whether it's Huatou or not. Okay, so he says, when you cultivate, you apply efforts, okay, you need to be a sage inside and a king outside. Sage inside, meaning that you have this shen ming, cheng ming, 这个圣名。证明的明 okay. Okay. So what is the sage insight? He says that it will help you understand the concept of sage a little bit. When you're a sage, when you become enlightened, you're able to shed light on problems a lot better than unenlightened people. That's a fact. Okay, you're a different kind of person. And so after you are enlightened, you are able to use your wisdom light and shine on the problem, and you can see a lot better than everyone else, than a normal person. There's a concept behind it. Okay, so that's why wisdom light, that's what it means, wisdom light. When you want to know something, okay, you look at it, and your wisdom light naturally shines itself on the problem. You want to know, you shine it on there, and they can't hide. That's why ghosts and demons are so afraid of us, because we shine a light on them, we see everything. That's why they're scared of us. Can't hide. Demons can only work by pulling your strings. They cannot attack you frontally, because they will die if they do that. That's why we're not afraid of them. We're only afraid of them, fear them when they attack us from behind. So that's why they don't line up armies and attack us. They only pull strings, attack. You know, when you're not aware that you're sleeping, or through your disciples. Okay? So we don't have to be fearful. So this is what I mean. Sheng Ming is that this is light here, this brightness, that when the sages decide to investigate something, okay, anything, any worldly things, okay, they shine a light on it. That's why Sheng Ming. The clarity of sagehood is not intelligence. is so bright that nothing can hide. Everything becomes very clear. You sure you want to mess with that? Okay? This is the state of sagehood. Next, king outside. What does a king outside mean? Okay. Inside, you have this wisdom light that shines on things, shines on people, that enables you to see clearly who they are. Whatever you want to know, you know. So far, so good. But outside, that's inside, that's you. But outside, how should you come across? Like a king. There's a certain comportment when you cultivate. You sit straight. You walk. Certain way of walking. Okay? So this Wang here is not the king of the worldly people. This is a Fa Wang. I explained the difference from Master YongHua. Okay? It's a Fa Wang. Okay, meaning Dharma king. Okay? You are the king of the Dharma, meaning that you come to my temple, I'm the king of the Dharma, therefore I must behave like a king of the Dharma. That is if you want to teach. Okay? Applying effort here. I'm going to teach and transfer others to apply efforts as well. No, remember, inside you have the clarity. Okay? And as you practice more and more, the clarity becomes brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter. It makes it much more difficult for people to hide from your light. You can hide all they want. They can't. Demons can hide all they want. They can't. But outside, there's certain comportment as a Dharma king. You have to have a certain comportment that will help. It depends on each person. I explain it different from the Chinese. I don't necessarily subscribe to the Chinese style, so please bear with me. For him here, it says teach and transform, others apply efforts as well. For me, it means that this comportment here, okay, of a king, of a Dharma king, that will make people feel like cultivating. It's not as limited as the Chinese would like us to think. You must be like a king or whatever. No, you are a Dharma king, therefore this is your responsibility, like a king of the country. Therefore, you must take care of your people. The king of the country is not a person who's totally powerful and can be whimsical and be irresponsible. No, not at all. This is not America, okay? Not political, okay? This is talking about being responsible. You're a king, meaning that you have responsibility towards the people underneath you. That's what a king does. A king is supposed to serve. a king is not supposed to abuse his powers and put money in his pocket. Then you're not a king. You're but a thief. You're but a con man. You do that. Okay? And there are plenty of kings who are like that. Plenty of corrupt politicians. All they do is use the power, their offices, and their position to make themselves rich and their family rich. Why don't we want to do that? You do that, your descendants will be very poor. They will suffer greatly. Don't be fooled. Eventually, down the road, okay, we're talking about time, a long, long time. They will suffer. They will be miserable. They'll be very, very poor. We may be poor right now. We're building so much blessings and fortune that eventually our descendants will be so rich. Okay? Meaning ourselves as well. So you see, you have this Dharma king, therefore you are to teach the Dharma, and teaching the Dharma here is not just teaching knowledge alone, but also teaching them and encourage them and urge them to cultivate. Okay? And because others cultivate and become a Buddha, okay, that's what Dharma kings do. You see, it has nothing to do with kings. You remember? Okay, it is a Dharma king, not a king. To be a king outside, you're a sage inside, a king outside. Well, he repeats it. Okay? Now, in order to be a sage inside and a king outside, meaning inside you need to hone your wisdom, outside as a king you need to have a certain responsibility, some duties as a king. Okay? A king is not something that you should say, I earned it, I inherited it, and I deserve it. No, you earned it. And therefore, you need to do meritorious deeds. We're not talking about just kings here. We're talking about a senior monk. We're talking about an elder in our world. Okay? They're in position called Dharma king. They have responsibility. Okay? They're given the recognition to be up there, to be a leader, because they have responsibility. Because we chose them to lead us. We chose them to speak on our behalf. So there's a lot of serious responsibilities. You don't just be a senior and elder and ignore people below you. Because you get up there because we, younger people, lower level people, have to struggle our ways to support you and so that one day when we earn our ways, we'll be up there just like you. So you're up there because of us. Therefore, you must serve us. That's a Dharma king. Okay, so you do meritorious deeds. Okay, and you need to do merits, great merits. You need to build virtues and establish teachings. You see, this is no longer about Huatou. Okay, now it's clear. I was sitting there, so really? Is this Huatou? Where's the Huatou? Cultivation is not that simple, easy. Of course it's not. It's not. It's very hard. And that's why it's fascinating. Okay? You want to go to a great institution, educational institution, it's much harder than a low-class institution. You know, the degrees of difficulty is much, much higher. Okay, so that's why these people who graduated from these great and famous and demanding education institutions, they snatch it up like that. As soon as they graduate, people come and grab them and say, "Hey, work for us." That's why, because these people are not ordinary. They're outstanding people. They're overachievers. That's because their practice, their coursework is not simple, is not easy. Okay? To become a Buddha is even worse. It's much more demanding. Okay? So it's not supposed to be easy. Let's get this straight. You want easy? You want it your way? You won't be happy. Do something else. Okay? So how do you do meritorious deeds? Okay? We build a temple, and you come and help with the work. Okay? Meritorious deeds. So you help out. Okay? You create value. That's doing merits. You produce, you contribute, and you increase value. Is that clear? So I'm very proud to tell you, in Gold Forest, we got it 3 years ago. 2.5 years ago. And Master Z was there, okay, when I first started. Okay, he was only a brand new minted monk with no training whatsoever. What's our training? Send me down here to work, to build merit and virtue. Remember that, Master Z? Seemed like so long ago? Got it 3 years ago. 2.5, 3 years ago. Okay. Master Z was there. It's a dump. It was a dump. That's where people, homeless people, threw things they didn't want. They throw the garbage and the clothes and whatever, what have you. Okay? And so Master Z was there, so what did we do? So we'll clean it up. We fix it up when we work and work and work. That's doing meritorious deeds. Is that clear? You produce value to the point where, because of all the work that was put in by those people, okay, we created value. You contribute value. You add value to society. That's how you do meritorious deeds. And that area, in particular, there's some drug dealers as well. Okay? If after the break, during the breaks, we go out there and try to sell drugs in order to get the money to pay for their remodeling, is that doing meritorious deeds? Andreas? Yes, he says, yes, absolutely, it's doing meritorious deeds. Right. For the demons, not for the world, not for Buddha Dharma. So when you do things that are destructive, that are selfish and destructive, okay, at the expense of others, that is not meritorious. Please keep that in mind. Doesn't matter what you do, but it's only about you, and someone else has to suffer losses and be miserable, then it's not meritorious deeds. Okay? Remember, meritorious deeds, we add value. Okay? We constantly are adding value to society. Is that clear? In our little things, just cleaning the dirt off the walls, cleaning the garbage off the property, and that's meritorious deeds. It's a funny thing, we did that, and the neighbors complained, said, no, you are bringing problems to our neighborhood. And right there, the dump where Gold Forest was, okay, was there for 5, 10 years, 15 years, and it's not a problem to them. But as soon as you came in, tried to build it up into something nice and something clean and spiritual for the community, they're opposed to it. Okay? Oh well, such is life. So that's meritorious deeds. What about virtues? Okay, you also need to build virtues. They have to go together. You cannot simply build merits without virtues. How come the Chinese don't explain this? I don't get it. Chinese always gong te. It's not one without the other. And yet, when we translated that into English, we talk about doing merits only, doing virtues only, doing merits only, doing virtues only. It's always combined together. It's not one without the other, from the way I understand it. So you need to do virtues. Okay? So the virtues have virtues, actions. You see? Virtues requires actions. Virtues is not just a concept, it requires virtuous actions. Don't tell me virtue is like, I am, give me an example of virtues. My mind drawing blank because you guys are not virtuous at all. I look at you and say, I don't see anything virtuous. What is virtuous about you? Okay. So you do virtuous actions, like cleaning go forest is virtuous actions. Why is it virtuous actions? You physically come to work. You are doing something with your body. Okay? Gong is labor. You have to do something. You can't talk. Well, talking is also labor. For some people, like Peter, who excels at talking. Okay? In such a charming way. Okay, so you have to physically do something to create virtue. Okay? You have to do something. And when you physically come over work, that's doing meritorious deeds. What has to do with virtues again? Okay, so you go over, you clean up, go forest, okay? You help children go forest, okay? Clean up the bathroom, okay, that's merits, okay? You're adding value, because if you don't, the thing crumbles, the thing becomes dirty, and then you lose lose value, okay? You become less desirable to society, okay? You increase value because society appreciates it, okay? What about, you could also donate your hard-earned money. That's building virtues. Agree? No! There's nothing virtuous about donating money. It's nice, but it's not virtuous. I'm not complaining. It's meritorious because when you donate money, what are you doing? You're increasing value. You become poorer, but the temple gets richer. Theoretically speaking. So that's meritorious. We agree on that. There's a donation box in the back. We should make it more visible. Go ahead, Conk. Ponhyun is so shocked at the way we Americans speak Dharma. We are very precise. We have to tell people exactly what to do. When we talk about donating money, we have to tell them where the donation box is.
Go ahead, Conk.
Hello.
Master, if somebody make donation or give money in a certain circumstances, it could be also virtuous act, right? Like, for example, like you have just a little bit of money and then you look at a person who's very poor and starve, and then you maybe take a loss and then you starve yourself and give them money. Would that be a virtuous act too? At the same time as it's a meritorious deed?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. You agree? It's a virtuous thing to do that? Sounds right, yeah. Was there a comment?
Now, I'm curious, like you sometimes can do something like, and then you do both at the same time?
Sometimes, yeah, okay, one. Koreans are confused about virtuous deeds explained to this half American, half Korean thing. The Korean side doesn't understand. The American is like, understands only half of it. Go ahead.
Thank you, Master. I've been patiently waiting for you to bring up the opportunity to mention that on the YouTube channel, there's the opportunity for YouTube audience to perform
a donation button.
We have a new button for our Patreon account, and one monthly donation from one user of $4 would cover the expenses of transcribing one Dharma talk. So that would be a small virtuous deed that's very attainable for a low monthly support number.
Louder. You are so hesitant. I mean, so sad. You guys really like it hurts, right? $4. Why 4? I mean, can we round it up to 5? Can you imagine the kind of singles we're gonna have if people start donating $4 instead of $5? Or they come to me and say, Master, I want to donate $4. I said, and give me a $5 bill. Oh, good Lord.
It seems like the most modest virtuous deed to begin with, for starters.
I see. Okay. Let's change it to $5. Well, let's not do, singles or dollar bills. That's too much. Yes, 7.
Question from Malcolm. He says he's been having many obstructions during the Fochi and Chanchi, and he has a specific question. He says, Master, I entered Samadhi at work, and later I think I was attacked by demons because I got sick that day. I'm almost better, but what can I do when this happens?
Don't enter Samadhi. I hope it solves the problem. All right. So, no, donating the money is not building virtues. That's incorrect. What is building virtues? Okay. Remember, in order to build virtues, you need to do something. Yes? Something meritorious. Yes, so donating money is something meritorious. Okay? But is it virtuous? This is so important. Why don't the Chinese explain it? It's annoying. Yes, 7.
Din Tai says, as long as an act nurtures our inner goodness, then it's virtuous.
Our inner goodness. Okay, that's virtuous. Okay, what else? Very good. So Asian. The answer is so Asian, Nurtures our goodness. Oh, good Lord. So what if evil people, can't they create virtues because they're evil? Have you thought about that? Is this only reserved for good people? The evil people too must be able to create virtuous deeds, otherwise they'll be evil forever. Let's talk about evil, and that's put evil virtuous deeds aside for a moment. Let's talk about something that's more easy to understand. Yes, the number 4 lady.
Master, I was just thinking of somebody, but I realized maybe I should disguise who it is. One of the neighbors at Lu Mountain Temple told me that he did a lot of bad things in his life, but he liked going to Lu Mountain Temple and bowing to the statues, and he especially liked praying to Wan Yin and asking for help. Is that building virtue? That he would bow to the Buddhas?
Yeah, be about virtues, yeah. Sure. That would be build virtues. Would help. Yes, 8.
Master, what is virtue?
It's virtue. Don't you understand virtues? Where do you come from? Vietnam? Vietnamese people are not virtuous? Vietnamese people help him out. What is virtues in Vietnam? What kind of question is that? I'm shocked. I mean, it's like you ask a Korean, what is kimchi? I mean, Vietnamese people help him out. What's virtue in Vietnam? Now the Vietnamese are drawing a blank. New. What is virtue in Vietnam? She's sleeping. Okay, yes, 1. Yeah, we now desperate. The Americans answer for Vietnamese too.
Thank you, Master. In Return of the Jedi, Darth Vader was watching Emperor Palpatine destroy Luke Skywalker and had a moment of clarity and decided to defend Luke Skywalker, who was later revealed to be his son. I apologize for the spoiler alert.
No need to see the movie anymore.
There's 6 additional really bad Star Wars movies you can waste your time with. This was the last good one. Darth Vader did a virtuous deed protecting his son and turning against evil, even though he had led an evil life.
Would that classify as a Vietnamese virtue, young man? No, it doesn't. He said he disagrees. It's not Vietnamese enough. It's too Star Wars. Anyone? What is virtues? The Vietnamese are even afraid of me. They say, I'm not going to say something, Master's going to laugh at my face. I laugh at everyone's face, including my own. That's why we can't do Huato. I can't do Huato because keep on laughing and fighting. Okay. Let me try to help you. Okay. What is virtuous deed? The virtuous deed is something you do intentionally, knowing full well you will suffer a loss because of it. That's virtues. So you come to my temple and you steal from me, one from the other. Is that virtuous? It's virtuous to me, not to you. Because I open a temple so that you can steal from me. That's because I know full well you steal from me. I'm virtuous, but you're not. Does it help? No, it doesn't help. Let's find another example with less offensive. You understand? Yes, 6.
Master, you mentioned the stealing, and that reminded me of the other side of the coin, which be another famous character, Robin Hood, who would steal from the rich and give to the poor. But at the end of the day, he was still stealing. And to me, I don't think Robin Hood would be able to do something like this, even because the source of his hard-earned money, even though he had, to him it was a loss for him to, let's say, give to the poor or donate to a temple. It was a loss for him, but because he stole that money, I don't feel that that was meritorious or virtuous.
Okay. I don't like Robin Hood, so I don't care to defend him. Yes, 4. Defend Robin Hood.
I don't think I can.
Alex is next. He'll defend Robin Hood.
Doesn't have a question.
Go ahead, 4.
Well, what if while you're pumping gas one morning going to work, you see some homeless person and they're hungry, so you decide to buy them some food right there at the little grocery mart connected to the gas station, knowing full well that you only had so much money for your own lunch, and but they looked like they needed it more than you do.
So you go to the temple for lunch afterwards.
I didn't know about the temple
Is
yet.
that virtuous?
Well,
yes, it is. 4.
for the temple.
Okay, Q&A.
Well, thank you, Master. Virtue is the moral that you have in you. One of the examples that I could think of is I saw this one YouTube about the principle during the COVID time. A lot of families lost their job. A lot of students go hunger, can't go to school. And the principal, what he did was after work, he went and worked in a Walmart, save that extra money, buy extra school supply, food, and he delivered it to the student family and helped them. And he came and tutored them to school. So that to me is virtual.
Yeah, I think it's virtuous. Okay. So again, yes, 8.
Master, then by your definition of virtue, then for a rich person that donate $100 to the temple, it means nothing to them. So the virtue would not be a lot compared to those who doesn't have money and yet give all to the temple. They have virtue more than the rich.
Yeah, it's proportional to the sacrifices you have to make. Okay? So the more sacrifices you make, the more virtuous the act. It's not measured in terms of dollar amounts, but it's measured by sacrifices. Virtues is built on sacrifices. So whatever that you do, whether you're Robin Hood or not, Robin Hood made sacrifices. He could have a normal life. He could be safe. He could have a roof over his head, but no, he had to run to the forest and live, in trees and live like Tarzan. That's sacrifices in order to protect the weak and the poor. So that's virtuous from that perspective. So when you talk about virtues, it's from the perspective of what kind of losses did you incur? You If you feel that you haven't incurred any losses, then it's not a virtuous thing. It's about you. Look at yourself. Okay? So this definition of donating hard-earned money, that's not building virtues. Donating your hard-earned money is virtuous. Yes? It increases in value. Donating money is merit because it increases value to whoever the recipient is. Okay? But is it virtuous? Not necessarily. Okay? For some people, for them to give away $100, like the example, is really not even a sacrifice. It's like they smoke. They can roll up weeds in $100 bills and say, "Hey, can you smoke weed like I do?" That's not virtuous. You understand? I dare them to roll it up in gold leaves and smoke it. People eat gold nowadays. You know that? No? They don't eat gold in Vietnam. They eat gold in Vietnam. Why do you look at me like that? Switzerland, they don't eat gold? But think about it. If you roll the thing in gold and real silver, and you smoke it, I would be impressed. I would tell you are very virtuous. Yes, for.
Thank you, Master. When I think about being virtuous, I always think about, like you said, suffering. Like, it's how do I keep my precepts? I don't indulge in what I feel is "quote unquote" right at the time, according to my feelings, or I stop myself because I don't want to fall into hell. But I'm just basically depriving myself of my gut emotions, so that for some better future. And so every time I hear about virtue, I hear about this suffering. Master Shenhua just said that if you have virtue, people will listen to you. What are some other positives of being virtuous?
Don't worry about positives. Listen to your heart. It feels right, do it. Let's keep it simple. It's not meant to be analyzed and compared and beaten to death. What this teaching here is about, you build virtuous deeds, okay? Meritorious deeds, okay? You build merit and virtue. How do you do that? You do that by adding value. So far, so good. Merit and virtue, you add value with your acts. You add value, while at the same time, you making sacrifices. That's why it is called merit and virtue. You see, my definition of merit and virtue is quite different from a Chinese. So, if you do things to add value to society, to others, that's meritorious. So far, so good. So donating money to charities, to whatever is meritorious. Giving money to a homeless person is meritorious, okay? Donating a book to a library is meritorious because you're adding value to the library, yes? But it's not necessarily virtuous because you really are not making sacrifices. You pick up a book from her, okay, it will cost you nothing, and donate to a library. That's not virtuous at all, right? You steal $1 and give it, put in donation box. Tell me what losses have you incurred. That's not virtuous at all, right? Real virtue thing is that when you do it, when you increase value to others, you actually are taking a loss in doing that. That's why it's called merit and virtue. When people went to go forest, they fix it up so it increase the value at the expense of their health, their personal life, their income. That's merit and virtue. And the end result is something called go forest. that the whole community is proud of. They even forgot about them. They don't even know who built it. They only know about me. So those people are virtuous. I'm not. I'm just famous. I wish. Okay? Number 5.
좀 지금 덕을 얘기하고 있는데 제가 궁금해는 좀 타이밍을 놓쳐서 죄송하고요. 세라니 먼저 이거부터 먼저.
Master, you're talking about virtue, but I'm sorry, I have some other subject to ask. Sorry.
제가 이제
Not tonight. Wait, no, that please. We are not done with merit and virtue yet, because I look at their faces. They're still looking at me and say, I don't understand what's merit and virtue.
알겠습니다. Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Another night, okay? That can wait. Virtue, merit and virtue is important. We need to beat this to death. We're not going to leave it tonight until we're done. I don't want to go back to this. Because this Chinese concept, merit, virtues, is very, very important. And we need to explain it in a way that we are Westerners and 21st century people understand what to do. Okay? And just make no mistakes about it. We need to know it, because if you want to cultivate, you need to build merit and virtue, period. First thing you do before you cultivate, build merit and virtue. Yes, 6.
What if you're making sacrifices for something selfish, like if you want to work out or something, you make the sacrifice, or if you wanted to stop smoking or something and it's purely selfish, like you make that sacrifice. Would that be building virtues, or would it not, because you're doing it for yourself, not for other people?
Where have you been the whole evening? See what I mean? I spend so much time explaining merit and virtue. He says, how can you pump iron? Only to benefit yourself. Is it merit and virtue? You're supposed to do something to benefit others. If you pump iron in order to benefit me, yeah, that's meritorious. But if you pump iron to benefit yourself, that doesn't count, my friend. Okay? Easy answer. Q&A.
My understanding on virtue is you do the good deed for other, and it shouldn't be known, or less people know as much as possible.
That doesn't involve a loss, according to him. If people don't know that you did something good, then there's no loss at all. So why is it virtue? You can answer yourself?
Yes, Master, because if you do good thing and a lot of people know, so it's more like you buying fame, so it's not really virtue.
Okay. So there's no loss. Now why is it virtue? You didn't answer your own question.
You spend time, you do good thing for other. With your losses, your physically labor and doing that. Yeah, I think that the loss, you lost time and other thing, money to help others.
How about, let me suggest this, maybe applicable. Maybe it will bring the point home to you. You lose faith to your wife.
Yeah, could be.
Because after you do everything, they still discard you like a rag. Oh, thank you. And that's it. Your wife looks at you. Oh, how stupid you are. Huh? You lose face to people. People think you're stupid. That you are so stupid that you have a chance to be famous and be a big person and be an important person in society, but you don't want to tell people about it. Hey, honey, come here, come here, be famous. See, come, baby. Okay, come, here. Come. For you? For you? There you go. Now you're famous. Huh? Hey. Both hands here. Hey. Hey. Finger. See, she knows. She uses one finger. Numero uno. Come and join her. Huh? No. All right, girl. Okay, you see that? When Master Hsien-Hua, the Chinese, said it's virtuous when you do things in anonymity, actually what they're risking is people ridicule them. People ridicule you. You say, you did all that, and then what? For what? Okay? You lose face to your family, to your friends, to people that respect you. All right? So that's why my definition is not different. Remember what Sales said is that when you do things you want meritorious, something meritorious, and you don't want others to know it's virtuous. That's correct, because you're losing time, you're losing face, you're losing opportunities to make more money, to get recognized that you are a good lawyer, that you have been helping this temple, and therefore they will be impressed and call you. Okay? So recognition is very rewarding financially, let me tell you. If you do things at great losses without letting others know, wanting others to know, okay, you're missing out on a lot of opportunities to get married, to get a girlfriend, to get recognition, to get promotion, to get all kinds of things. Think about it. You don't even want your boss to know you do charity work at somewhere else, soup kitchen or something, okay? Don't talk about it. So you lose out on the opportunity for others to look up to you and respect you and adore you, okay, and think highly of you. And that translates into money, into material benefits for you. Absolutely. All right? Okay. So it's not building virtues at all, only hard-earned money. I disagree with Master Hsien-Hua. This is, maybe he needed money to build his temple. But there's nothing virtuous about this. Yes, 7.
A couple internet suggestions for virtue was from Michael, non-selfish, skillful means. And then Kennick says, leaving the home life under Master YongHua's training is a virtuous deed.
What's the loss in that? I don't see any losses. I only see free money, free food, free clothes and shelter, and a lot of headaches for me. There's nothing virtuous about it, excuse me. Okay, anyone else? You see, you understand now? It's about reflection. It's not about something you recognize. You say, I'm doing something virtuous. Do you agree? No, you look at yourself and say, I'm doing this to benefit someone, whether they know it or not, whether people know it or not. Okay, whether it's recognized or not, doesn't matter to me. I'm doing that, okay? Or I'm doing that and I sacrifice my time. I sacrifice my family life. I sacrifice my money. I sacrifice my chance to get a second job and make more money. Huh? That's a loss. There's something in economics called opportunity cost. In your free time, you could be making more money. You could be investing in stocks, buying cryptocurrencies, building model airplanes and sell it, do NFTs and, and so forth, So it's deliberate. You're taking a loss so that master gets richer. It's very virtuous. Yeah.
Yes, Master. What about simple acts like giving up your seat on the train, in a train or a bus for somebody who needed, like an elderly or disabled, or what about like helping somebody crossing the street or something? Is that virtuous act?
It's a virtuous thing because you could be resting. Yeah, going to work. You could be resting. Okay, but you let others rest. So that, yes, you perform less. There's some losses there, I think. What about helping others cross the street? Okay, you could be hit by Xianjie. When he drives, you better watch out. Hi, baby. See, he likes it. She likes it. Okay, so that's why, I tell you something very virtuous of all of you. You put up with the babies. For most people, they frown at this. You know that most Buddhist disciples, they frown. You're distracting Master YongHua. How can he speak Dharma to us? I'm speaking about your kindness and your compassion. This is the Dharma we're speaking. Your kindness and compassion by tolerating the running around, making noises. Yeah, it's a little bit cute, okay, but that's besides the point. The point here is that you making sacrifices. You're sharing your time with me, with them. Instead of me speaking more, elaborating more on virtues, merit, and virtue, now I talk about them. You see that? Your losses? Not that my time is worth much, but okay? Does it help? Merit and virtue is very, very important concept. It's a self-examination. Why I did that. Okay? Is it? If you do it by making sacrifices, what happens? It's from the goodness in your heart. You're taking losses because you yield the benefit to others, and while you're incurring losses, that's from your goodness in your heart. It's not evil at all. So for evil people, for example, they want to do meritorious and virtuous deed, do less evil. Yes? Instead of destroying. There's something doing, evil, the demons, they destroy things. They're destructive. They destroy the goodness. And all they have to do is control themselves, restrain themselves, and not destroy. Not being destructive is virtuous. You don't need to invent a new technology. You just don't pollute the environment. Instead of driving a car, you walk 20 miles. No, that's too virtuous. Some people say, Master, you way more virtuous than I can handle. Yes, 4.
So, Master, like walking 20 miles, 3 steps, 1 bow.
This guy is obsessed with that 3 steps, 1 bow thing. I happen not to like 3 steps, 1 bow, but that's a different story. I don't like bowing anyway, in general. For some reason, I just don't like bowing at all. Oh, God. So maybe some bad experiences with the people who bow. All right, does it help? Merit and virtue, this is very important. 7, did you answer a question?
Michael has a question. Master, I think about creating virtue, but I fear I might fail or waste my time because I don't have enough skill.
It's a valid concern. It's not about results. It's about what kind of losses are you incurring. And if the losses you incur are big, then it's more virtuous. Now, as far as results, good results, then it's about merit. The merit side, the more you increase in value, the more meritorious. That's all. So you know, just like everything else, the first time is not very good. And thank you very much. And eventually you get better. No one can excel at the first trial. Okay, don't worry about results so much. I'm more worried about how big your heart is, how good your heart is, how willing you are to make sacrifices. The skills you'll develop, they will come later. Thank you, everyone. Oh, there's a 5. Yes.
Building merit and virtues is form of creating blessings, or is there any difference?
What again? I couldn't quite hear you.
Building merit and virtues is form of creating blessings, or is there any difference?
Yeah, blessings, when you are doing merit and virtue, you generate a lot of blessings. How? That's a good question. But unfortunately, we ran out of time. You see what I mean? If I allow people to ask questions, you know, it's no way we can finish this topic of merit and virtue. Even without the question, we don't have enough time. Okay? So answer her. This is an important topic. Agree or disagree? If you know important, we stop right now. Important? Louder. So, what was the question again? It was such a good question. Is merit and virtue blessings? Yes? Okay. Let me dissect it for you. And it may not be Chinese, but we do it American style. Is that okay? And if some of you, who's used to Chinese style, okay, help us out, okay, as well. And that's how the Chinese teach it. I don't care what the Chinese teach. Okay. Why does it create merit? Does it create blessings when you do merit and virtue? Merit is when you increase value. So far, so good? Definition, you increase value, so the person gets richer. Okay? Has more and more. Okay? What does it mean to you? You share in that. Okay? You share in that person's increase in wealth. Spiritually, it's called giving. Does it help? You give. A form of giving, when you give, you increase your blessings, your spiritual wealth. So that's why when you do merits, you increase a lot of blessings. So far, so good. What about virtues? when you do virtues, are you increasing your blessings or not? Yes, you are. Why? Because you are taking losses too. Remember? Virtue is that when you suffer losses, the more losses, the better. Okay? So for example, you may be poor. There's plenty of stories in Buddhism where a beggar takes out money and buy a little bit of oil, a penny's worth of oil, to give it to the temple, and they use it in a burning lamp. Okay? So that's all he could afford. That's all that beggar could afford. 1 penny, took out a penny, bought some oil, brought to the temple, and added the oil to 1 burning lamp. That's it. Okay? That 1 penny right there is a big loss to this beggar because that's all he has. That's his entire fortune. Okay? So that big loss right there is a form of giving. Okay? And that's why it is it creates a lot of blessings. How do you like that? Okay? We like? We happy? I'm sorry I can't answer your question tonight. Another time. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.